In the wake of the latest flood alert by the National Emergency Management Agency (NEMA), lawmakers have urged agencies of government to begin dredging of all canals to prevent flooding disaster. Nigeria's rainy season, which begins from March through September, poses high risk of flooding during torrential rainfalls in many states in the country. More details in this report. Flooding is one of Nigeria's biggest environmental problems. In 2022 alone, over 1.4 million people were displaced and 603 people lost their lives, while about 82,035 houses were damaged. As much as 332,327 hectares of land were also affected. Worried about a reoccurrence, lawmakers have asked relevant government agencies to release funds for dredging of canals across the country, as well as revisit the proposed construction of Dasin Hausa Dam to take in the flood waters from Latgo Dam in Cameroon.
Our approach to this normally is always to scratch the problem on the surface, which we do palliatives. We give them mattresses, give them food stuff. But Mr. President, what our people go through as a result of flooding is better imagined. They lose so much money in billions, and most of this money indeed are monies they borrow from banks to farm. Their farmland gets washed every year.
There is a need for a long-term measure that will address the issue of flooding in Nigeria. One of such is the creation of dams, construction of dams to absorb some of these excess waters.
The climate change and the global warming have led to increase in temperature, thus affecting the coastlines, which has resulted in an increase in the volume of water in the sea. Accordingly, the Senate is hereby asked to resolve by constituting an ad hoc committee to liaise with relevant ministries, departments and agencies to put in place erosion prevention and management mechanisms.
Weeks ago in June, over 100 families were affected by flash flood in Trademore Estate in the Lugbe area of the Federal Capital Territory in an intense rainfall that lasted for about 3 hours. Affected residents lost valuables worth millions of naira, as well as the lives of 3 people.
I can't even say how much, because people lost things in millions. Cars were lost, houses, things in the house, lives were lost, So how much can you pay for a life that is lost? These things are things you can actually get and buy, but what about somebody's life? Can you pay? How much do you think we can pay for life? So honestly, you can't quantify how much you can pay for this.
Actually, I can't guess it like that. So, but many things spoil inside. You not get choice. Life pass everything.
For experts, the lack of responsibility on the part of government and individuals is a key reason for the flooding disasters.
There are those areas that are close to the rivers, which are known as the floodplains. Definitely the people who built houses there, they should have been advised not to. In fact, they shouldn't have been allowed to do it, because we know there are floodplains. Just because you didn't see any flood for 4 or 5 years doesn't mean that the flood won't come. There's a history of those areas flooding. It's very unfortunate. And this is the price that we're paying for this lack of responsibility in terms of, some of the people responsible for making the decisions in governance.
Meanwhile, more floods are expected between 4th and 8th of July 2023 in 14 states and 31 communities across Nigeria as a result of heavy rainfall. Folashade Ogrinde, TV360 News.